Hey everyone, and welcome back to the innovative series of super robots with Infinite Godaikin, reviewing your favorite American die-cast and Japanese robots, the Godaikins. How's everybody doing today? Glad to be here, glad to be with everybody. And today we are going to review Leopaldon, or also known as Leopaldon in the Popy world, Leopardon in the Godaikin world. And this is one of the smaller robots of the Godaikin collection. This is considered a DX robot, but is actually more of a ST size. And he's kind of a cool one because he crosses two genres, superheroes and robots. And I'm also doing my shooting today. I've been kind of goofing around with this, and I'll post another video when I was goofing around with all my robots, but I am shooting on my USS Flag, and it's the G.I. Joe USS Flag. It's near complete. I've actually got some parts over here that I just got to hopefully complete this thing. But you know, shooting on this thing was awesome. I had all the fighter jets of the Godaikin series and Popy all lined up on the deck, making them look like they're about to launch off, and it was really fun. Kind of messing around with the flag and using the flag other than, you know, G.I. Joe, which is what most people are accustomed to the flag being used for. But it was really, really fun, and hey, if I was you, I'd get a flag. They're kind of expensive, but they are really cool to do some displays on. So check out my other videos on that. And you can also check out my Instagram at Infinite Godaikin. I did a whole bunch of pictures, and my little short video is also on there. So hashtag Infinite _ Godaikin on Instagram. Okay, so Leopaldon here. So this robot first appeared in the Marvel universe, and you first see it as the Marveler. This is called the Marveler, and in the Marvel universe, this robot was created for, from what I get from the Japanese story, for Spider-Man to be able to contact it if he needed help beating down, I guess, bigger enemies or something like that. So here's the box of Leopaldon. As you can see, it says Leopaldon on the belt, and it has Spider-Man graphics on it, and that is because this is Spider-Man's helper robot, and I believe it was in season 11, I think episode 7, and I forget the name. It has a long name to the episode, but in the Japanese Spider-Man show, that's when this appeared. But here's the whole box, and he does come with, you know, quite a bit of gear, kind of like Dynamos. He comes with some extra cool stuff. My box is pretty nice, except for the front here. Has a big crunch mark in it, but other than that, the box is still nice. And then here's the inner foam and his weapons, all the missiles, extra shield, extra fists, his large sword and his small swords. And we'll get to those in just a few minutes here. So the Marveler comes out of the ground. Well, it came from outer space first, and it comes out of the ground. And when it's in this big giant ship mode, you know, it has its big missile launchers or cannons on the front of it. This is the only time it stays in ship mode. When Spider-Man actually uses the Marveler, it then transforms into the robot mode, Leopaldon or Leopardon, whichever way you want to call it, it is correct. And he transforms in the show to help Spider-Man fight the big giant evil bad guys that kind of show up. And the show that it's in, you know, kind of looks like a old Power Rangers or Super Sentai show, so it's kind of silly. But the robot's moat is pretty heavy, a lot of plastic parts, but then a lot of die-cast parts, like these doors are die-cast. Part of the legs are both die-cast and plastic. The whole chest is die-cast, and then these pieces up here are plastic. But, you know, pretty nice. The only weird thing I find with it is in ship mode, these are missile launchers right here, but they're only to be used in robot mode. These missile launchers don't turn to face forward. I mean, I guess if you wanted to do a ground attack while you're flying over, it could be, those can be used as like bombs or whatever, so it can bomb the heck out of things. But that's the only weird thing I found, is just in ship mode, these missile launchers. But, you know, great detail, big thrusters on the back end and stuff like that. And so that's kind of how the Marveler operates. Transformation is very simple. So when Spider-Man decides to jump into it, transformation is very, very simple. You just fold those down, fold that down, and basically the ship kind of, it almost collapses into the robot. The only other thing you got to do is you have to open the back, and you want to make sure you have these shoulder pieces out of the way. So you want to push the arms down a little bit, because this is pretty fragile. It's just on a single hinge back here, and so the head's pretty fragile. Then you want to flip forward the head and make sure you close it up and make sure it's all locked back in place. And then on the arms, there's doors back here, and it flips open, and you got to flip these little doors out of the way, which tuck inside, and then it goes forward. And same with the other side. Open up the shoulders. And you can leave the fists on. I mean, I do on mine. I just leave the fists on. But you could take the fists off and unfold it. But there he goes. Now he is Leopardon, or Leopaldon. And this is the robot form. It has, of course, the typical Japanese launching fists. The other cool thing about this one that a lot of the other robots don't do, when their ship form forms, you lose the other rocket launchers. Well, in robot mode on this guy, the rocket launchers are actually still up in the front. So you've got the fist launchers, and you've still got the chest rocket launchers that you can use. So that makes it kind of cool. It gives them a little more weaponry. And then you have the leg launchers. So, I mean, talk about not even needing to whip out his other swords or anything. He can hit you with the fist punches. He's got the rocket launchers and the chest launchers all ready to go. So this robot is kind of cool because it has that playability in it. The only issue about robot mode is the legs don't stay really tight. I've never seen any of them where these leg pieces stay tight. They kind of flop around a little bit. And then the arms sometimes flop. And on mine, sometimes they decide to, just by putting in, I mean, these are the mini swords, and they're really lightweight. And sometimes just setting them in here, the arms will unlock and flop back. So that's one of the issues with this toy, is that the arms can be really floppy and loose too, and they won't stay in place. They'll flop back. But he comes with these two mini swords, and on the show, he never actually holds the sword. They did make a giant sword for him. So this is his giant sword. So he can be like all of his other robot partners in the Godaikin and Popy line, where they have the big giant sword. And all my weapons are in great condition. They've looked like they've hardly ever been touched. Actually, I've never really used this sword. I like the two short ones, because the two short ones in the TV show, he actually throws those. He just pulls them out and tosses them. He never fights with the swords. He actually just pulls the sword out from his leg area and just tosses it. So, you know, he uses that as his final attack. So instead of jumping through the air and doing like some sort of cross slash through the air, you know, like Voltron or any of the other giant robots, you know, where they do the one hit kill with the sword, he pulls his swords out and uses them like throwing knives, and that's his final attack. So he has those. On his legs, he has these yellow pieces which come off, and here's one of the spare ones. But these are shields, and he can actually, these come off, and I haven't tried placing it on it. Somehow he's able to hold the shields, and I haven't really messed around enough to see how he holds them. But the shields can attach to him or go onto him somehow, and these are kind of like his arm shields, so he can hold them and use them as shields. And he does that in the show. The spider webbing kind of comes out and creates this shield for him. And then he comes with, of course, his rockets. He has some rockets, and then he has the spider car. I've never opened this packet up, but there's a couple of pieces in here, and there's the spider car in here, which the spider car is how Spider-Man gets into him. The spider car actually drives into it while it's in ship mode, and then right when Spider-Man enters, boom, it turns into the robot. So Spider-Man, again, never flies around in this thing. But Leopaldon is pretty cool. He's, you know, like I said, considered a DX robot, but he's only an ST size. Like I have Daitarn 3 over here, who's not a Godaikin, but just in size reference. The Sunrise Toys or Clover Daitarn 3 is the same size. So that's it on this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, just leave them in the box below. Don't forget to like, love, and subscribe to my website or my YouTube site, and tell your friends all about it. All right. Thank you for joining Infinite Godaikin today. Goodbye.